Nova's just a kid trying to replace a well-known superhero. But with Civil War II going on and all of his friends dispersed, how can he be a hero? Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues, and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then, I read it dramatically back to you. All alterations of the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. This is the next storyline in the Nova storyline, the ongoing story that we have been bringing you for a while about Nova. Since we are caught up in the storyline, that means that they're coming out a little more sporadically, but this continues the plot. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll link the Nova playlist down below so you can catch all the way up. Our story begins with Sam Alexander and the Avengers fighting something. As the battle rages on, all of the heroes hold out as long as they can until finally Doctor Strange, with his sorcerers, manages to banish the threat. A massive explosion goes off and Sam picks himself up asking if they're even still alive. Steve picks him up and says, "It looks like it, but now we have to clean up the mess." Sam looks out at the destruction and Steve tells him, "Don't worry though, Tony normally throws a pretty big shindig after these brouhahas." Sam then asks, what is a shindig and a brouhaha for that matter? Steve looks at him and tells him, "There's going to be a big party. Now let's get to work." Later that night at Tony's penthouse, the Avengers have just that, a big brouhaha. Through the crowds, Sam notices Rogue and he says hello. She looks at him and tells him, "Oh right, Nova. You're a bit shorter than I remember though." Sam tells her he's actually the new Nova, and Rogue says, "Gotcha. So is this your first time at one of these things?" He tells her no, actually he fought with everyone when Phoenix came back. He's an Avenger. She smiles and tells him, "That's great. I didn't know they started a new Young Avengers." He stops her and tells her, "No, actually, I'm on the Avengers. So she tells him it was nice meeting him, but she needs to go find a restroom, and Sam politely says, "But we've already met." He tries to join in on the conversation between Jean and Miles, but Steve breaks it up, stating that they need Jean over in the kitchen. So Sam and Miles ask Steve if they should go too, and Steve tells him, "No, it's something serious. You need to just stay and enjoy the party." As the party begins to die down, Sam heads back home to where his mother is hopefully sleeping, which of course she is not. His mother tells him that they can't keep doing this, the late nights, the wondering if he's even going to come home. Sam tries to explain, but then she asks, "Did you even know what you were fighting today?" He begins to explain what Iron Man was thinking, that it all came out of a different dimension, maybe? And his mother stops him and tells him, "I don't want you to be an Avenger anymore." Sam shouts, "I have to be! They need me!" And then she hangs her head, and she tells him, "I need you too." Sam tells her, "Please, I know what I'm doing." And then she says that he just fought against something that he doesn't even know what it is. How does he even know how that helmet works? With no response, Sam's mother continues, "I get that the helmet connects you to your father, and being with the Avengers gives you a place to fit in, but all of this is killing me. We'll talk about it in the morning." As she leaves, Sam asks her a question. "How about I find out how the helmet works? Would that help? I know what I'm doing." Maybe? So a short while later, Sam reaches out to the smartest man that he knows, Tony Stark, who promptly tells him that he's very busy with important things, so call back in a few weeks. If you're wondering what he's so busy with, go check out the Civil War II video. He's kind of preoccupied fighting against Carol Danvers right now. But a few weeks pass and Sam still can't even seem to fit in, not even at home. One morning, Sam decides that it's time to try and reach out to Tony again, and as he calls, he gets the answering machine. And he realizes that something must be wrong. He has to go find Tony Stark. So Sam flies over to Tony's penthouse to find no one. And frustration begins to set in because Sam has no one to talk to. He then starts to power up his fist to hit the building, and then there's a sudden rumble. Sam says he didn't think he hit the building that hard, and then he notices explosions going on down the streets. As the smoke begins to clear, Mole Man appears riding a giant worm shouting, "The end of the service world begins now!" And after Mole Man shouts that, he looks around and realizes, where are all the superheroes at? Sam flies down telling him, "I would like to know that too. No one's answering their comms." So Sam gets closer to the ground and some of Mole Man's monsters crawl out of the ground and open fire on him. Mole Man says that this is an embarrassment. Aren't there any real heroes to give me a challenge? Sam picks himself up stating, "I am a real hero." And Mole Man tells him, "Well, if that's the case, why aren't any of your superhero friends coming to help? If they can see the future, why are you alone?" Sam shouts, "I don't need them to take you down," and he begins blasting away at the worm. Mole Man loses his balance and he falls, and he tells his men to retreat. And once they're gone, Sam stands up telling himself, "I am a real hero." The victory is short-lived though, as the giant worm roars, and Sam figures, "I might need some help with that though." As the civilians begin to run, a man sits in a bar asking, "What the hell is everyone so afraid of? Superheroes will show up, they always do." And then Sam is thrown through the window and the man says, "See, there's one." The man looks at Sam and he tells him, "You know, they seem to be pulling them in a lot younger and younger these days. Who are you with? The Avengers? New Avengers? Young ones? I lost track of all of the names." Sam says that he's kind of busy at the moment dealing with the huge monster out there. The man sips his beer and says, "That thing is called gentrification." Jumping back out, Sam asks him, "What, are you a superhero?" And the man tells him, "Barely." And then Sam says, "I know how that feels." Suddenly a loud boom goes off, shaking the building and knocking over the man's beer. He looks up and says, "That's a metaphor well, that's a metaphor for something. Even though I'm not very bright, I am strong and now I'm angry." The man gets up and he tells Sam, "Come on, let's go mess some stuff up." The two rocket back into the fight, punching the worm until it's finally over. And Sam tells him, "Thanks for the help. What's your name?" The man tells him, "I'm the captain." And Sam says, "I'm sorry, but I've never heard of you." Captain asks, "Have you ever heard of Next Wave?" And then he stops and says, "Don't worry about it. Next Wave hasn't really been a thing for a long time." "So you're not a superhero anymore?" The captain stops and tells him, "There's already enough webbed wonders and sentinels of liberty fighting. Even with all of the superheroes not being around to help with this, there's only one person that I can really trust, and that's myself. So I get out to work on what I can and what's important." The captain walks away and Sam asks him, "What's important?" And he tells him, "That's up to you." And with that, Sam heads back home. As he walks in the door, he asks his mom if they can talk. Lately, he's been confused, and after their talk a few weeks ago, some strange stuff has been happening. His mom tells him that she saw him on the news fighting that monster, and that man that helped him looked homeless. Sam says that he might be, but after they finish, the man told him that really the only person that he can trust is himself, and now with all of this stuff about looking into the future to stop things coming up, all he wanted to do was talk to that guy who can see things, and maybe he can help him find his dad. But now with everything happening, it's also scary and he doesn't know what to do. He continues stating that he tried to contact his teammates thinking that they could help, but they're all gone. So he's got to figure this thing out on his own. Remember when I said I needed to find out what's powering my helmet? That's what I'm gonna do. And if I can't, I promise I'll stop being Nova. And that concludes the Civil War II tie-in for Nova. Now, the next story arc, which we're going to be getting to very soon, is also a short 2-issue spread, but it does explain two things: what's been going on with Richard Rider, and what powers that helmet. So if you're interested in that, don't forget to subscribe to this channel to get the next Nova storyline, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Comicstorian. I am turning into a robot, and I will see you later.